Hello everyone, my name is Parashar. I'm a senior program manager on the AI platform team at Microsoft. Today, I'll walk you through how to analyze your text with Azure Cognitive Services for language and derive useful insights from your data. Let us look at how AI solutions can help in your life. So like whenever you are talking to an agent or trying to analyze some object with your camera, or even predicting something, you are using AI in some form or other in today. And to build this AI applications, you need to use machine learning models, and there are multiple ways in which you can build this machine learning models. Either you can use pre-trained AI models, or you can use AI models which are created from your own data set. Azure Cognitive Services is basically a set of APIs which you can use for your application and leverage pre-built AI models. So these models are basically built using procured data set or public data set or a combination of both, and then these are constantly updated, and you can in a few seconds call them in your AI application and then build smart application. In some cases you can even customize these models with a small data set and then again use it in your application. This is much faster as compared to creating an AI model from scratch, where you would need thousands or millions of data set examples. Whereas by using pre-trained AI models via the cognitive services, it's just an API call, and depending on the type of service, you will immediately get a response back. Now, I belong to the language services, so as you can see here, and it basically includes Q&A maker, text analytics, translator, and language understanding. Today we'll be talking about text analytics, which is basically using pre-trained AI models and analyze text to derive insights. Now, the thing that to note about here is that these cognitive services can be run anywhere, so be it container in Azure or on-prem or as a hosted API, right? So you have that flexibility, and these are globally available in many languages. And like I said earlier, these are using the best AI models, world-class AI models in the background, and we keep on updating this AI models constantly. Now let's go deeper into text analytics today. Text analytics is offered as an API. It can be consumed via an SDK and can be used via the hosted API or by calling it from a container. And when you do that, essentially you can use any of the features within text analytics to extract key phrases by using key phrase extraction, summarize text, which is our latest offering in order to do extractive summarization from a document. And of course, you can do language detection, entity recognition, sentiment analysis, mine opinions as well, which is like going deeper into your sentiments, and also analyze healthcare data. So text analytics for health, which is one of our latest offerings as well. You can find relevant medical information. So we have a diverse set of features available over here to serve multiple use cases. And oftentimes these are used in combination of other services. So for example, if you want to translate the text before sending raw text to or a particular text in a particular language to text analysis, you can do that by a translator service, or you can use this in conjunction with Azure Search to create some index, or you could use it in some other scenario and create word clouds, or you could even integrate it in Teams and things like that. So there are multiple ways in which we have seen customers consume these. So this is just one piece of a larger solution, if I may say. So now what all did we launch in 2021? So it has been a very busy year for us, and we continue to launch new offerings before the year ends. But until now, we have launched new state-of-the-art models for named entity recognition, key phrase extraction. We are also working on updating our sentiment analysis and opinion mining models with transformers, and you will these will be released soon. Then we have text analytics for health. We launched it in generally available. So basically it's available globally. There's an SLA, and we also have published the pricing. Similarly, PII, PHI is GA, and opinion mining is also GA. We also GA'd Async endpoint, which is basically allowing users to use multiple features together. And then we launched Extractive Summarization as public preview in August. So a rich set of features basically, and then we lowered our pricing and deprecated the older version of the API as part of our product lifecycle. So, text analytics are used across the globe, so we have to support many languages, and we continue to expand this list. So as you can see that anywhere from 20 to 100 languages are supported across these offerings. Let's go into some of these services. So let's start with opinion mining. Now, when you do sentiment analysis, essentially you want to look at the sentiment from the document or a sentence or things like that. And then you get, so you send a sentence to the service, and we'll see that in the demo as well, that, okay, the weather is very good, right? So it's kind of a positive sentiment. But then you want to find out insights from it. So you want to dig deeper and say that, okay, what's actually, what's the keyword here, right? So if I say weather is very good, then it's weather and good, right? So then these are kind of opinions. So good is an opinion about the weather. So that's where we have opinion mining, which is an extension of the traditional sentiment analysis. So while you do get the regular sentiment analysis, you also get opinions on top of it. These are essentially called as target and assessment in the JSON response, which you get. And then you can do interesting things from it. You can take actions. So if it's like a customer support chat and you want to find out like what went well or what didn't go well, right? You can derive these kind of actionable insights from it, in addition to the overall sentiment. So that's what we call as opinion mining, and it's available without any extra premium to the price you pay for sentiment analysis. So it's an optional parameter for when you call sentiment analysis, and that's how you can use it. The next offering we have is key phrase extraction. Again, has been there for quite some time, but we did update the model in June of this year, and as you can see that the quality of predictions has been improved. So I have an example over here regarding COVID, and the previous model was missing certain keywords, whereas the new model, which is based on transformers, is able to get the keywords in much better. And like I said, that we continue to improve these models. So normally we release 1 or 2 models every few months, and we also try to support new languages. But if you are using any of these services and if you have feedback, you can always reach out to us via the Azure portal support. Next, we launched new AI model for NER as well, which also increased the quality of the model, as well as introduced some new categories, and also started supporting more languages. So that's NER, and we also have a custom NER version, and I'll talk about it later in the presentation. NER also has a PII and PHI offering, so you can actually send text which has any PII information, and then it will be redacted, and you can use the redacted text going forward if you have privacy related or information in the document, and you cannot you have to anonymize these documents, or depersonalize, rather I should say, not anonymize but depersonalize these documents. You can do that, and you can see that it will be replaced with asterisks, and that's how you can use PII. The pricing for PII is also same as what you would do for NER, so yeah, no extra premium, but same as NER. TA for Health, that's the latest offering that we have. And it basically gives you 4 different outputs when you send text, right? So it's combining 4 different things when you make a single API call. So you can do entity recognition, entity linking, relation extraction, and negation. So it's basically assertion, right? So you can do everything together in a single call. So it's a very powerful model, and based on the initial uptake with customers, like, everyone is happy with the quality of the performance. So and this is designed for healthcare. It's one of our first industry specific model that we launched, and we are hoping to launch more in the future. But yeah, so very excited with this. And there are many scenarios in which this is used. So even the CDC bot uses it. Some pharma companies use it in public bots whenever text is there. It's used even in assessing clinical notes or physician notes, and then it's also used in figuring out, like, whenever a patient gets treated by a care provider, is the treatment in line with the original prescription, things like that. So many interesting use cases are there for text analytics for health. Now we as you saw that, like, if you have to individually call these services, of course it's not very difficult, but sometimes, like, if you want to use opinion mining and key phrase extraction and even do NER together, then you have to make 3 different calls, right? Individual API calls, and the data limit, and there are restrictions on the number of characters per request and things like that. So we got feedback from customers that can this be improved, and hence we launched the Async API. It's basically the same AI model, the same pricing, but now you can club multiple requests or multiple features in a single request, right? So you can call sentiment analysis and key phrase extraction and NER in a single call to the service, and you can also send much bigger documents. So like I said, the normal, if you call a single endpoint, which is synchronous endpoint, you can send up to 5,000 characters, but with this you can send up to 125,000 characters. Now this is optimized for throughput, so you are not going to get a response in milliseconds, but you have to wait a few seconds, and in general I have seen like 60 to 70 seconds is what it takes to get a response back, but because it's tuned for throughput and not for latency, right? So if you have a real-time scenario, then you should consider using the standalone APIs and not use this. And like I said, the pricing is the same. So if you bundle different APIs, then you would be charged based on whatever individual API is called. Now, you might have seen the charging. It's basically based on text records, right? So I'll walk you through in terms of how the pricing works, but it's straightforward. Now we launched a new service in public preview in August. Like I said earlier, it's called Summarization, and this is Extractive Summarization. So it supports English and the Latin languages. It's based on transformers, and then I mean, think of it as an extension to our key phrase, but the models are different and also the use cases are different. So yeah, if you haven't tried, please go ahead and try it out. So yeah. Now, some customers want to customize what they want to extract or classify, right? So like the pre-built models, if they work for you, it's great. But in some cases, the pre-built models may not work for you, right? So like say if there is a domain specific scenario, or the output you get, or the polarity or the prediction that you get, that may not be what you want from your business process. So in that case, you would probably build a custom model. Now, of course, you can use the approach to build a model from scratch and provide millions and millions of data, sometimes thousands, depends. But then there is an easier way to do that, and that's what we call as custom text analytics, or custom extraction of text or classification. We do support multilingual language. It's also transformer based, so the latest state of the art models. And then you need to just bring in a few hundred documents actually, and label them, like, and you don't even need to code anything. If you are a domain expert, then you don't have to worry about knowing Python or understanding how to train machine learning models and things like that. It's very easy to use, and I'll show you the same during the demo. And then it's also available as a unified API endpoint. Now, please note this is in private preview, so you will have to get your Azure subscription whitelisted before you can actually start using it. And the way to consume all this is via a language portal, which is in preview, and essentially this is a single place now to do pre-built or the traditional text analysis, and although do the custom one, and it's a single place to do everything. And we feel customers will find it very easy, so it's easy to use. Let's go into the demos now. So I'm going to share. So this is the language portal, like I said earlier, and it shows you all the features in a single place. So it's very easy for you to try. So let's do key phrase extraction, for example, and then let me select English as the language. I already have an example loaded, or you can type your own or upload a file, doesn't matter. And then you get a response like this back. So these are basically key phrases which got extracted from the input text, and the actual output that you get is like a JSON over here, right? And you can call this API by going to our SDK. So you can use quick starts, and we have the SDK available in multiple languages. Or you can actually directly call the API if you don't want to use the SDK, but the SDK is normally encouraged, so because it will make it easier for you to consume the service, right? So you have both options, and here it's just to show you and for you to try it out quickly without writing a single line of code. Let's look at sentiment analysis and opinion mining. So in this case, let's look at another example, and I have this optional parameter for opinion mining is enabled. So as you can see that I get the sentence level sentiment, or which is what is called as document if you have multiple sentences basically, and you also get individual opinions and their sentiment. So in this case, they provide marvelous food and they have a great menu. Right, as you can see, food gets marvelous. So now you can dig deeper in terms of what it is, and then menu, it's great, right? So you can do that, and we have, like I said, customers can go one level deeper and analyze the text in an actionable way by doing this approach. Next, let's look at health. And for healthcare, I have a new portal. It will be integrated into the language portal soon. But until then, I just have another way to do that. So I'm providing some input text, and you can get this UI by actually deploying the container. So in case you use the hosted API, then you will get a JSON response back, which you have to parse to get a good visual. But if you are using the container and if you want to try it, then this UI is integrated into the container already. And as you can see here, that you are getting the entities, the linking, the relations being extracted, and also an assertion which one is positive or which one is negative. So things like that. And then when you look at any entity, or you actually get the ICD-10 codes and things like that. So if you have a license for any of these UMLS or any of these dictionaries, if I may use the word, then you can actually get more details. So this lower output that you see is based on license. You need to have that license, otherwise, yeah, you can just use your UMLS code and then do that. So this is text analytics for health, which is giving you that. And then finally, I wanted to show you the custom text extraction. So in this case, you are building your custom model, and like I said, the UI is very easy to use. So once it loads it, you can actually fetch documents from your Azure Blob Storage. So you load your documents in Azure Blob Storage, and they will show up over here. And then you can actually start labeling. So in this case, if I want to build a custom entity extractor for location and date, then what I can do is I can click on this marker on the right hand side, and then I can click on the location, and then for the date, again, I can label it. So instead of this simple example of extracting location and date, if you have a complex example, or if you are interested only in some particular dates, like a date could be there in multiple places in the document, but you are looking at only a start date or something like that, you can build that kind of an entity extractor as well, because then what would happen is the location of the date will also be used as one of the input, right? And once you have labeled a few documents, then you can actually train the model from within the UI, so you don't have to leave it. And that's why I was saying that you don't need to know how to write Python code or machine learning details. You just need to be domain expert. So you should be able to identify what entity you want to extract, and you can add new entities as well, and then do that. Now training takes a few minutes, so I already have a model which is trained, but you can see the details of the model, and we'll also give you like whether your data, what's the precision recall, and then if you have to improve the model, then we'll show you, okay, probably this entity doesn't have enough labels, so you should label it some more. So basically, if there is imbalance in your data, you'll also do that. Now, once your model is trained, you can actually deploy it from within the UI as well, and once it's deployed, you can actually get a prediction URL. So it's just like your pre-built API as well. And you can use this endpoint as an API in your endpoint in your application to use that. Now, anytime you want to improve the model, what you have to do is you have to bring in new data, and then you can add that to the delta part of it, and then retrain the model. So that's an iterative process that once you deploy the model and then you get a new data, you come up with a new version of the model. So this is custom text extraction, and similarly we have custom classification as well, which is available as a capability. So I showed you demos of various offerings that we have. Now you might be wondering, how much do I have to pay for it, right? So the pricing is published for on our page essentially over here. So some of the preview offerings are free actually. So custom text, what I showed you, and I'll show you the URL to apply, or extractive summarization are free. And the ones which are in GA for a long time are paid services. So TA for health, or sentiment analysis and opinion mining, key phrase, and all these are paid services. And one interesting thing you have to know is how is pricing done, right? So this FAQ will help you a lot actually. So you are priced by the number of characters that you actually send to the API. So in this case, what happens is if you send a request with 500 characters, then it's considered as one text record. One text record is basically up to 1000 characters. So if you send 1200, then essentially it becomes 2 text records, and that's how you have to think about it. So it does not matter how many requests you send. What matters is, are you able to optimize your number of requests based on this boundary of text records, right? And you can always see how much text records you are consuming by going to the Azure portal, right? So when you go to the Azure portal, you can go to your text analytics resource. So text analytics resource is basically the key that you would use in order to consume any of these capabilities in text analytics, right? So when you create a new text analytics resource, you get this ability to call the endpoint and the API, and then you can also view the actual consumed data over here. And there is this option to get processed text records. So I haven't used this key right now, so there is nothing real time over here, but that's how you would see that. And I assume you would know how to create the key, but if not, let me just quickly show you. You go to the Azure portal and then look for text analytics as a create resource, and then you can say create, and then to provide the details, you provide a resource group, the region, and in the pricing tier, you should select S, because that's the option which is available right now. So that's a quick overview on how to consume the API, what's the pricing, what are the features available, and now I'm open to answer any questions that you might have. So yeah, please feel free to ask your questions now.